And if like that doesn't bring you satisfaction and watching a very good friend of yours like slowly suffocate from your own boobs, check that out. Wrong sport, baby. All right.
So we're here at Immersion Camp 2024.
Wake up, train, eat, train, go to bed, train, think about training.
It's all jiu-jitsu related!
Yeah. The more he needs air, the more he's gonna suffocate.
Yeah, get
What's Tim just over here murking dudes or what?
Here at the Origin Factory.
Holy shit, I'm just like blown away about like what the you do for a living. Like this is wildly awesome. Like you don't get a more American anything than just one look around here. This is freaking bonkers, man.
That's handy.
Yeah.
I got pulled over.
I'm sure you got off.
I did, but
the guy was probably like, you're good.
Who? You're Tim Kennedy? I was like, yes, sir. He's like, what are you driving so fast? I'm like, I'm trying to get to the Origin Jiu-Jitsu camp. And yeah, look at them boots, huh?
I gotta get you some of the new mock toes.
Do you know how good these smell?
Yeah.
Is it weird I sit here and smell my boots?
That's what America smells like.
Man.
All right, blue belts this morning.
Yeah, and then like, I mean, that's like majority of the camp is blue belts, and then like
if somebody gets lippy, do I get to kill him?
I'll kill him, yeah. Just murder them.
All right, everyone, get closer, please.
Hey, good morning. How everybody doing? Cool. How much do you love jiu-jitsu? Yeah. So I do love jiu-jitsu in the fact that I can like tear somebody's face off and I can put my hands on somebody that's an untrained person and they have no say about what I'm gonna do to them. That's a really cool superpower, right? But the other superpower jiu-jitsu has is like how transformative it can be in your life.
So what is this camp and what are we doing here?
I said yesterday down in the field house, I said, what jiu-jitsu is for me, it's 50% on the mats, and the other 50% is how you apply jiu-jitsu to life. In your life, in your family, in your business, in your relationships. Really what we're teaching a way of life through jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. The coolest thing about this camp is in the name. It's an immersion camp. It sounds like it's cliche, like you're gonna come get immersed in jiu-jitsu, but by the time you leave this camp, it really seems like this is what life is.
Immersion Camp is the one non-negotiable that's on my calendar every single year, and I'm enjoying this weather because back in Texas, it's 106 degrees right now.
If you are not evolving, if you're not adapting, if you're not changing, if you're not improving, you are dying. And I know that jiu-jitsu is a catalyst for that. It accelerates it in such an indescribable way until you actually do it yourself and you get the taste of it and you're like, dude, what have I been missing my whole entire life? You smell fantastic. You really do.
So Origin obviously is some of the raddest, best stuff to wear, but on the jiu-jitsu side, the Origin, the beginning of the company and jiu-jitsu have been very intertwined.
Yeah. All right.
For me, it's not just a lifestyle. This culture has bled into Origin. It's what started this company. This camp is what funded this company. That first camp we had in 2012, I remember taking the registrations. I think there was maybe 30 people, and I literally took the money and I handed it off to one of my employees, Dustin, who was building the factory in the woods.
What's up, guys? So we're making our jackets, first initial samples here in the factory. I sew everything myself because I need to make sure it's perfect.
We've always been a purpose-driven nation. We were purpose-driven. There was a purpose for us being here.
It is a beautiful projection of what we could be, and I think we've always been trying to fight to get there, and Origin is very much aligned with those ideas.
Injecting that back into the soul of America, that has to happen, and it's got to start somewhere.
Switch top and bottom. You should have got 3 or 4 reps in there. For a good smother choke, the goal is to put stuff on his face so he can't breathe. That's it. That's a smother choke. I'm gonna move his nose to like right in between my boobs at nipple level. He's like, even with the arm locks, I'm gonna finish with killing them. I'm gonna grab anything I can. His eyes, his nose, his chin. Now I'm just gonna pull. That's my finish right there. A martial art that is actually useful has to be against a fully resistant opponent. Look at the concept first, which is smother his face. That is me trying to do something that person knows is gonna happen, and he's trying with all of his might to stop me. And jiu-jitsu is one of those martial arts that gets to the highest level of that. And I want him to move underneath me, because the more he moves, the harder he breathes. The harder he breathes, the more he needs air. The more he needs air, the more he's gonna suffocate. I think the same thing that you're gonna say to anybody that doesn't wanna try a new thing is you're dying. And if you're scared to start jiu-jitsu for whatever that reason is, I promise that will evaporate in a heartbeat the moment that you get on the mats. And if like that doesn't bring you satisfaction, and watching a very good friend of yours like slowly suffocate from your own boobs, wrong sport maybe. All right, so.
Dude. Factory of built in America, built by freedom. Here at the Origin.
Built by freedom.
I love it. Yeah.
So as you walk through, you'll see like there's a new and younger generation of makers that have been training over the past 4 or 5 years.
This is like a fine legacy skill. Like these are artisans.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Shoemakers are like
art. A foot is asymmetrical, so it's art and science. Yeah. You know, I mean, they're looking, they have different reference points, and they're like, okay, that looks good, boom, lock it in. Yeah. All right, so this process, we bought a footwear plant in Batavia, New York that was over 100 years old. We moved all the equipment here because it had shut down. Then we had to like refurbish it and bring it back to life, and we're launching this September 2nd. So this is considered a moccasin toe. And then this construction is called Goodyear welt. It's a welted construction, and it's really hard to do and like ridiculous. Yeah. Like, so this is what it looks like. Gorgeous, right?
What's so light too? Yeah. And what is this leather?
This is American just steer leather. Yeah, like a whiskey color.
Dude, that's
nice,
incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
What size are you again?
12.
We got 12s.
So, we're gonna go through the process.
I'll start at the beginning.
How you doing?
I'll start at the beginning. Holy cow! It's Tim Kennedy.
So, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm awesome. Nice to meet you.
It's good to meet you too.
Holy shit, I'm just like blown away about like what the you do for a living. Like this is wildly awesome. Like how do you even do this? Because this is incredible. I smell leather. I smell that weird cork material. But like the thing that's like the most recognizable and that you can feel is like the people. Like these are everyday awesome Americans that are doing the work with American-made stuff. So it's American materials, made in America, assembled in America, by Americans, in America. Like we're in, what's this, Farmsville? Farmington, Maine. Like you don't get a more American anything than just one look around here. Like this is freaking bonkers, man. Oh, is that weird that you just like, that I sniff everything?
Nah, bro, that's normal.
Those feel good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
How's the toe box? Is it narrow or wide?
No, it's perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. They're so light too.
Yeah, they're freaking awesome.
Yeah. Look at my boots.
You see like the age though of everybody?
Yeah. It's way younger than I thought.
Yes. I've been trying to tell people like, why do you think young people don't want to learn manufacturing? What is it? Because of the propaganda that your parents heard that said you shouldn't work in mills and factories, you should just go get a college education? Yeah. There's a lot of people who want to work with their hands, and there's a next generation, that's what they want to do. Yeah. And there's not a lot of those manufacturing.
They want to create something.
Yeah.
It's artistic.
Having somebody come in here who believes in all the same things that we do, you know, bringing stuff back here into the country, doing stuff the American way, you know, putting forth something and showing that we can do it here, I can really appreciate that.
for the average person like me, it's almost like thinking about like what Jocko or like what Pete have said before. Like if we go to war, if there's some big crisis, we're one of the companies that can keep going. We're one of the ones that it's like, okay, we can't get anything from overseas, not a problem. We can just keep going. So it's a way for us to strengthen America just by going to work every day, not having to put on anything like a uniform or carry a rifle, but just by showing up, by doing work, by making sure that we send out the absolute best product, we're strengthening America too. I get weird about machines because I don't understand how they drew pictures and then thought it was going to work back in the day. They don't have computers to make this. It was all like draftsmen, like engineers, like drawing, here's the size of the bolt, let's machine it to this, let's machine. Imagine having a mind, like a beautiful mind, you know, like that thinks like that. It's crazy to think of how they did this. I mean, this is a piece of leather right here that's gonna get stitched to the boot, the outside of the boot. And then everything that gets attached to that. That's resin on that thread to allow it to slide, then I think stay in place. And then he's got to end it where he started so that it's seamless transition. Whoa. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Man, I'm seeing a guy's hands move with understanding of a thing that makes no sense to anybody else on the planet. You know, I have hope. There's kind of a part of me that's mourning Americans and that we let this go. Right? Like we put this offshore. I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't know why we did it. We're lazy, we're cowards.
When I was like, all right, we're gonna make gis in America. All right, we cut down a bunch of trees, built this timber frame factory. Once we did that, we bought a bunch of old World War II era Singer sewing machines that were headed for the scrap pile. And we just started like sewing stuff. I didn't know I needed 3-phase power. So we just started up a generator and, you know, made it work. And then I was like, okay, we need the fabric, but we couldn't find any fabric, like jiu-jitsu gi fabric. Yeah. And you could only get it in China or Pakistan. And I was super bummed, disappointed. I didn't read the tea leaves. I wasn't looking around the corner. And so I ended up having to import fabric for our first batch. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. So I was like scouring all of New England's mills. And I sat down with an old guy in Lewiston, Maine, who had like this warehouse full of sewing machines. And I just happenstance, I'm like, he's like, what are you looking for? I'm like, I think I need a loom. And he's like, get in my truck. And we go down his truck. We drove like 2 blocks up. He brings me in and introduces me to this old woman, Rachel. She has me sign a release. She brings me up into this old abandoned mill up on this top floor, 500,000 square feet. And there's this old green loom sitting in the middle of the floor.
Doing what?
Nothing. It's just sitting there. Just sitting there. She was gonna put it in a museum. And I said, can you sell this to me? And she's like, if you can get it out of here, you can have it for whatever, $3,000 I think she charged me. I went and got a quote to move it. It was 20 grand. So I got a bunch of my students, jiu-jitsu guys, my father-in-law, some friends. It took us like 9 hours to move it across this floor, all buckled. That had been, you know, obviously the freezing temperatures and the extreme heat buckled the floors. And we dangled that loom. We got it across the floor and we dangled it outside of this old mill in downtown Lewiston, Maine. And this guy, Lenny, he refurbished it with me over like 6 months and we got it working again. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But this is the beginning of Origin right here. This beast of a machine. And this thing was covered, when we found it in that old mill, it was covered in lanolin, which is like, because it was weaving wool. And so like the oil from and so once we cleaned all the lanolin off, we found that it was in like pretty good shape. We just didn't have half the parts needed, so we went and found parts and pieces in old mills, and we kind of put it back together and started weaving. It's crazy. When it comes to the fabric for the jiu-jitsu gis, this is This is the guy right here, Cam.
Hey, what's up, man? I'm Tim.
Cameron, nice
Pleasure to meet you. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, so basically what we got going on here is we have these frames up top. They will spread all of the yarns up or down, and basically it will insert a horizontal yarn in between each opening. Best way you can think about it is if you ever see a basket, like a wicker basket, it's literally just, they open it, put a middle piece in, close it over it.
Okay.
The same going on.
So how do you line all of these?
Manual labor.
Seriously?
Yeah. So when we get these and we set them up, we got to take each of these. Yeah, we take these hooks, we'll reach one through, have someone on the other side, pass it over, hook it on there, draw it in.
Yeah, so every single one of these strings is hand hung.
Yep. When we get them started, yeah. If
And
we want to change the pattern, we got to go through that whole process again.
Okay. And how you arrange those makes ultimately this pattern.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
So this is a new loom. We invested in new looms. The old loom ran like a player piano. So you have a punch cards, and Cam would make these punch cards, and it would just read the ones and zeros and make the pattern way different. Way different.
Each hole would tell one of these to go up or down.
Yeah.
Not this one.
No,
So-
this is all digital.
This is like the final material that then goes onto the gi that is cut to size and length and.
Yep.
So to take a step back, all the yarn comes in a single spool. And then all those single spools go in this cage. And then that cage gets used to put onto this big bobbin here called a warp. And then you make a big bobbin. So all this yarn then goes onto this big bobbin, a warp beam. The warp beam then gets fed into the loom. It's a process.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a process.
As long as I can't mess it up.
All right. Hold this blue button.
Okay.
Press the green button.
The art that I love, the martial art that I've spent the majority of my adult life doing, you know, it's you wear a uniform to do it, and that uniform is your gi. It's kind of nostalgic, one to see it being made, but it's being made in America by Americans with American material by a company owned by American. It goes from nostalgia to like I'm actually like internally processing a little bit, because like I literally just got done rolling for 2 hours at the Origin camp wearing an Origin gi as I'm standing in the Origin factory here, you know, it's weird. It's kind of a lot, and it's really awesome. The sport that saved my life, the martial art that's like kept me sane is made here. It's cool.